Good morning, everyone. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning. So, colleagues, we start the last day of the Congress with this plenary. And the idea here is for us to discuss how we can advance the age-friendly movement by leveraging commitments at all levels. Yesterday, I was actually looking at the etymology of what the word commitment, and I found quite interesting that the word actually traces its roots to the Latin, and it means to unite, to connect, to combine, and to entrust. It came as a surprise to me, even as a speaker of a Latin language. I also looked at the definition. And one, of course, there are many, but one that really resonated with me was that a commitment is a promise to be loyal to someone or something. This plenary will then highlight how this promise to be loyal to the age-friendly movement at all levels can be mutually reinforcing. From global normative frameworks to regional coordination, to national strategies, to city-level innovation and community-led action. By showcasing these experiences from diverse actors, this session will hopefully demonstrate how aligned commitments can accelerate progress and maintain, sustain momentum for the age-friendly movement. Also for inspiration, this plenary will feature two very prominent breakthroughs right after our distinguished panelists speak, and I will call some people from the floor to help me out. So we have a busy schedule, and I will really try and save time for questions as well. But with no further ado, I would like to pass the floor to my colleague Amal Abu Rafa. She is the Chief Program on Aging Unit at the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs. And we've prepared a question for Amal, which is the following. Amal, at the global level, we have member states with strong commitments known through frameworks such as MIPA, the UN Decade of Healthy Aging. And from your perspective, what do these commitments mean in practice today? And where do you see the biggest opportunities for us to accelerate their implementation across countries?
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Thiago, for organizing this panel and for this question that I have to tell you, the more I thought about it, the more difficult it was to answer. I think the answer depends on what is it that we expect out of these multilateral commitments. If we think that when governments get together and they agree on what the issues are, what needs to be done, and how do we go about doing them, that will be mirror imaged on the ground, then we will be disappointed. If we think that these global multilateral commitments are going to address how the life course influences an individual, how it influences care pathways, how it builds connections immediately just by agreeing to them, we will also be disappointed. That is not what multilateral commitments do. They do something that is more subtle, but also more important. They create that space for an exchange and a shared view and agreement on aging. And I think that is very important because, in my view and experience, aging is not like any other issue or policy. You see, I'm a Gemini, and I'm pretty darn sure that aging is also a Gemini. Because we keep reading it in binaries. Is it an opportunity or is it a problem? Is it a personal experience or is it public policy? Is it a strain on fiscal and budget cycles, or is it a driver of a longevity economy that is estimated at 20+ trillion US dollars? Is it a development issue or a human rights issue? Is it a central government priority, or is it something that has to be dealt at the local level with communities? And we do the same thing with older persons. Are they people that have wealth and agency and power? Or are they those that are left furthest behind, that are reduced to vulnerability? And much like me, aging does not behave. It refuses to sit politely and neatly into these boxes that we can deal with. And I think that adds to the complexity of, understanding what these multilateral commitments mean in practice. Now, add on to that layer is that we're living in a world of uncertainty. Well, we can't ignore that. Geopolitical uncertainty, financial uncertainty, technological uncertainty, uncertainty in people's trust in institutions, whether they're local, national, or multilateral. But demography is not uncertain. And it's not going to wait for political consensus before it arrives. In fact, it's already arrived. In virtually every country around the world, global north, global south, they've already started their transition into, aging demography transition. Now, this adds to a layer to these commitments to bring them to practice, because different countries are at different paces in that demographic transition. But make no mistake, they're all heading in the same direction. In one generation, we're going to see 3 demographic thresholds take place. Older persons are going to outnumber children under the age of 18. People aged 80 or over are going to outnumber infants. And there will be 4 times more centenarians. Last month, Lego, in my view, had the best tagline for longevity policy: updated for you. They did that to celebrate Sir David Attenborough's 100th birthday. So today, in the panel, we can say that a Lego toy box understands longevity, but our systems still don't. Add to that layer that older persons are extraordinarily diverse. And I learned that taking public transportation every day when my son was younger in Manhattan to pick him up from school. I walk into the bus, the first seats I avoid because these are reserved for people who would choose to use them, and then I take the first seats right after that. But soon enough, in the afternoon, the bus fills up really fast, and I was raised well. I was taught to stand up and offer my seat to an older person. Boy, did the New Yorkers teach me lessons. One older person told me, thank you, I'm actually getting off at the next bus stop. That older person had no interest in the service that I was offering, which is that chair. Another older person shared with me that he just had knee surgery. He does great standing up, feels great sitting down, but transitioning between both is quite painful, so he really did not want to sit down. Another older lady came in with the walker. She took the seat, but she wasn't thinking about herself at all. I heard her saying, oh, great, this way I could put my walker aside. She was thinking about creating more space for the multi-generations age of other members of the bus community that afternoon to come in on the bus. And my personal favorite was an older New Yorker who yelled at me and said, what is it about how I look that makes you think I need a seat? So I learned to ask, would you like to sit down? Or simply to get up, vacate that seat, and allow that opportunity for the older person to make the choice if they wanted to sit down or not. So all of these makes one think, what are the opportunities of moving forward, of making these commitments real in practice? And I really think that looking back 25 years ago, it is this staying power that goes above all the short-term political priorities that keeps this conversation on the agenda. And I think that is extremely important in moving the conversation forward. And these processes, including one that took place here 25 years ago in this country, Spain, that hosted it in Madrid, started a lineage of initiatives and events that took place afterwards, including this network of age-friendly cities and communities. And I think it's these connections of keeping this political, multilateral, governing system and body in place, despite all these complexities, is essential to keep this conversation going on the ground around the world to impact everybody there. And I hope this sort of set how complex the scene is from the global level. And I'm looking forward to hearing from my colleagues as the panelists as we move into other levels of conversation on this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amal. So embracing the uncertainty of the world, but the certainty of demographic change and making the most out of it. Thank you so much. Very inspiring, Amal. So we now go at one level. We go from global commitments to a regional leadership. And for that, we will hear from our dear Louise Schill-Thomassen. She's the Senior Advisor on the Nordic Welfare Center. And the Nordic Welfare Center, for those that don't know yet, is one of the newest affiliates we have in our age-friendly ecosystem. And it's actually the first government-led regional affiliate. So, Louise, building on your experience, what has worked so far in advancing this collaboration across the countries in the Nordic space, but also in more broadly? And importantly, what are your next priorities to further strengthen this regional leadership? Please
Thank you. Thank you, Thiago, and thank you for this warm welcome into the affiliate network. I thought I would just briefly present a bit about the Nordic Welfare Center and what kind of giraffe we are in this forest here. Just joining before I go to your question, I think it will make a lot more sense if you see how we work. So, what is the Nordic region in Europe? Basically, we cover around almost 28 million people, spanning from one of the most small and urbanized countries of Denmark, for example, to Greenland, that has a population density of 0.14, or even Finnmark in northern Norway, with a population density of 1.5 compared to Denmark that has 140 per square kilometers. I know these numbers are not on the slides, just to give you an idea of like the differences that are also in the Nordic region. We have Finland, that is one of the most rapidly aging countries in Europe. So overall, we're looking at towards 2040, we will be around 30% of the population, more than 65. And in Finland, they have already reached these numbers in some regions. So we really are also quite different. There are 8 countries: Sweden, Norway, Finland, Denmark, Iceland, Greenland, Faroese Islands, and the Åland Islands between Finland and Sweden. So I should have put that on the slides, but here you go anyways. So the Nordic Council of Ministers, there are 12 of them working in different areas, and the Nordic Welfare Center, we are an institution that work under the Nordic Council of Ministers for Social and Health Affairs. And the Nordic Council of Ministers is quite long-standing regional cooperation at government level. It was established in 1971, and the Helsinki Treaty is the baseline for that, which is currently also in revision. We are a platform for cooperation, meaning that our mandate is to support cooperation, to build connections, pull together experts at different levels, be it ministries, in research, different expert national organizations, municipalities, as in the Age-Friendly Network that I will come to in a moment. And we are also a knowledge institution, so we work towards identifying knowledge gaps together with key actors and then pulling together knowledge and disseminating. We are one of 12 institutions that work under the Nordic Council of Ministers in different areas, dispersed over the Nordic region. We have colleagues that are research institutions that work with gathering seeds to support DNA material for future food situations. So we work in quite different areas. And our mandate really is to be a convening, a gathering center. So we are becoming affiliates here today together with the Nordic Network for Age-Friendly Cities and Communities. And we have coordinated that. We coordinate around 21 expert networks of different kinds in different areas. Because we don't only, I owe to say, I work in the area of aging, but I also have colleagues working within public health, integration, children and youth, disability, and so forth. So the Nordic Network for Age-Friendly Cities and Communities are mainly for municipalities who are also members of the global network for Age-Friendly Cities and Communities. So that's like the entry ticket to become a member of the Nordic Network. Then we also have in the network key actors in the Nordic region, such as the Center for an Age-Friendly Norway, and also a pioneer region in Sweden, the region of Jönköping. We currently have 27 cities across the region. So our mandate is guided by the political priorities of the Nordic Council of Ministers that they have identified here towards 2030, and that focuses on equal access to welfare services, strengthening mental health and preventing loneliness, and supporting people to live healthy and meaningful lives, and I'll focus on preventive and sustainable approaches. And these are visions, these are not laws. There's no Nordic law and there's no Nordic authority that compels the countries to actually, well, they work in each their different way, I would rather say, to put this into action. But we at the Nordic Welfare Center, we have the convening power, but we don't have the authority. So we're really based on the volunteering commitment towards this agenda. So from our point of view, within what we do, to get finally to your questions, Jaakko, what is it we see that has worked? This is, I believe, nothing particular to the Nordic region. It really is providing that continuity and structure of holding that space and allowing experts at different levels to meet, to learn from each other, to exchange, and to find support for working with an agenda that they are usually, especially in the municipalities, often alone in working with, and it's a tough thing at times to work as a project leader with a cross-sectoral agenda. But here, this provides a framework for continuous exchange and support. And I think that is something that really strengthens the commitment over time, having that space. And then also having someone that is sort of a knowledge broker, meaning that we strive to translate the examples and knowledge across different levels. As we have seen here at the conference, the world is no short of innovation and excellent projects. But what is it that actually works? What is it we should learn from? This is something that we strive to identify and then make these examples and this and research travel both across the region but also across levels, so from practice to policymakers, for example, and also from research to practice and the other way around. So, lastly, what is it we are looking to prioritize as an affiliate? There is so much to focus on, but what for a start that we will look at is some of the major structural challenges that we have in the Nordic region. And one is that we have, as many other countries and regions in the world, a shortage of staff working in elder care and a shortage of staff with the right level of education or training. So this is a project that we are currently undertaking. I can tell you more about that at a later stage, or you can find me and I'm happy to speak more about that. And then also we have a growing population of older people with a migrant background. And this is, although not at all a homogeneous group at large, this is a group we see have more health challenges, more worse economy, report more loneliness. And I think you know the picture. So we're focusing also on that. How can we also co-create and include this group, I would say in quotation mark, even more. And our collaboration partners, Fabric Plus from Norway, are here. Maybe some of you already talk with them. I also have here, or they just joined here for presenting, also 5 cities in the Nordic network that have joined the Congress. So maybe you've also had the pleasure of hearing some of their good work. And then lastly, not only obviously connecting what we do in the Nordic region more to the global agenda and the other way around. I'm already taking so much back with me. Very grateful to be here. But some of the very important agendas we will look at developing is also how do we support in a systematic way the development and also evaluation of age-friendly initiatives from a Nordic perspective. So I think this hopefully also will contribute to the global community of knowledge. And I will end here, Thiago. No, I will not actually. I will do a quick promo. If you're interested in knowing a bit more about what goes on in the Nordic region, this was a conference we held in collaboration with Center for Age-Friendly Norway, WHO Europe, at the UN City in Copenhagen, November last year. It's really a very simple conference report. It has taken very long time to make it. It was just published this Monday. So you can check out our website to look at that. It basically has good presentations from different municipalities, also from research. Now I will stop. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Louise. So important to have organizations such as the Nordic Welfare Center helping to connect the dots in the region, to help with the coordination. The regions share similarities. So thank you so much, Louise, for the inspiring presentation. Looking forward to read the report and know more. So now we go from regional to national. And for that, we will hear from our dear Siti Munawara Binti Awang Tarif from Brunei, Darussalam. She's the Senior Health Officer at the Ministry of Health. And Brunei is also one of the newest national affiliates of the Global Network alongside Costa Rica and Poland. And notably, the first Muslim majority country in this space. So Moon is going to tell us a bit more about the next steps Brunei is taking to advance action nationally, and also hopefully how Brunei is planning to contribute beyond its borders to inspire others as well. Muna, please.
Thank you, Thiago. Thank you for a very welcoming introductions. So first of all, I would like to say thank you to everyone, and it's a great honor to represent Brunei. It's a very small country from the other side of the world, and we spent 30 hours journey from Brunei to San Sebastian, so it's a very tiring, but it's very exciting to meet everyone here. So, and also I would like to thank WHO for the support throughout the years, to Thiago, to WHO Repro Regions, to Dr. Kathleen Brasher. So they have been supporting us and also pressuring Brunei to become the affiliates. And Alhamdulillah, we are here, right? Just a bit background on Brunei. So I think you can just chat GPT or you can Google where is Brunei if you don't know where Brunei is. So Brunei is a very small country. We only have about 450,000 populations. Only 300,000 are the local Bruneians. So, when we compare to your countries or even your regions, I think we are still a minority when it comes to the population and the demographics. However, when it comes to demographics, Brunei is one of the fastest country in the world to speed up to become an aged country. So, we only have maybe about 7 years to go to become from an aging country to an aged country. So it's considered as a very fast-paced initiative that we need to do in Brunei Darussalam. Okay, when it comes to age-friendly communities, one of our commitment in terms of what we're going to do in the country is that we want to advocate and make use of social marketing mechanism or framework to actually advance the aging initiative in Brunei. Because I'm not sure in your country, in Brunei, we Bruneians tend to be in denial that we are aging. Yeah, I'm not sure whether it's a Bruneian thing or it's a global thing, right? So we tend to feel that we're still young, we're still far away, but when it comes to the real time or even the real world, we are one of the fastest country. So we need to, in Brunei, as an affiliate, so we want to advocate to increase more awareness among policymakers and also on the public's awareness on what is aging and what is age-friendly communities. Because in Brunei, age-friendly communities is a new context. So it's still a new concept that people still are trying to understand and trying to digest the importance of having an age-friendly communities, even with all different sectors, whether it's from the government, whether it's from the community, or even from the individuals or the people itself. And in Brunei, we are very lucky because we are very small. We have a very close network with each other. And Bruneians tend to know each other as well, even though you live 1 hour away from you, right? So we actually incorporate a whole of nation approach, whether together with the government sector, together with the private sector, NGOs, academics. So it's good to have a very strong network that we have in Brunei. So we want to, in order to expand our partnerships and also to get a buy-in from relevant stakeholders in the country. Because it can be a very lonely journey. Because just to share with everyone, we started back in 2020 with age-friendly plan to be included in our National Action Plan. So over the years, there has been up and down, so it can be a depressing journey. But with a very strong support from international, we do have regional support. So we actually can advance our age-friendly initiatives in Brunei. And I think similar with everyone in other countries, we would like to design a core design with older people because in Brunei, in terms of, honestly speaking, infrastructure-wise, we are still very lacking, and we still need to improve more in terms of our built-in environment and some other domains in the age-friendly communities. However, in Brunei, we do have a very strong social connectedness, and we have a very strong respect and mutual relationship between older people, younger generations. So it's how do you say? It's a balance between whether you want to you want to emphasize on the connectivity, on connectedness, or is it on environment sectors? Right. When it comes to global and regional contributions, I think it's similar with other countries or other affiliates that we want to have like knowledge sharing, transfer of best practices, learning from each other. But additional factors that we want for Brunei to have is to co-mentor with other age-friendly cities within our region. Because to have like, for instance, we can connect with Malaysia because our neighbors are Malaysia and Singapore. So they have been building up their age-friendly community. So it would be great to have a co-mentoring with other countries in order to help other countries within the region or even other side of the world to give or to learn from each other or to share our best practices. Another one is Twin Cities collaborations. I know cities has their own characteristics, right? So different cities have their own infrastructure, different environment, different vibes or different ambience, but there are over 1,000 or even millions of cities. There will be twin cities that almost have a similar character with our city. So it will have to have a twin collaborations so that the journey is not that lonely. Because in another sense is that I think for us Asians, we tend to be competitive with one another. So our benchmark is always Singapore. So in order for Brunei to catch up with Singapore, who has been way advanced, so can be a very difficult thing. Singapore can be our visions, but then between the process of going there, so we need to have a buddy system. So that we can share our challenges together. We can have like a similar conversations on how do we approach or want to advance our age-friendly communities. Another one, obviously, is digital platform. And the last one is I want to emphasize the usage and utilization of artificial intelligence. Because we cannot hide or we cannot stop from using artificial intelligence nowadays. Because it's the in thing, it's the trend. So how do we can make sure use artificial intelligence to actually provide benefits for countries like us or even countries within the region? So artificial intelligence can help us maybe track emergent trends of aging so that we as a country or as a cities, we can be prepared. What are the upcoming mega trends or whatever problems that we facing in the future so that we are prepared right now. Another one is by using artificial intelligence, it can help to facilitate knowledge exchange. So within the region or even global, we have different languages. So even right now, I was very impressed because this is the first time I've attended conferences that use Spanish, Portuguese, French, because normally it would be English. So it's good to make use of artificial intelligence to actually gather the information and so that everyone can have the same understanding and common knowledge, even though we have a barrier in communication. Another one is we can make use of artificial intelligence to progress inclusivity for our populations. So and also maybe to help us map out what kind of interventions that is actually relevant for the cities or the communities to actually implement, right? And also artificial intelligence can also help us in planning what our interventions are. So. And also we can have collaborations in terms of problem solving through artificial intelligence. So it's very important that we cannot deny artificial intelligence. So we need to be friends with artificial intelligence. So it helps us to maybe reduce some of our difficulties or some of our problems or challenges when it comes to age-friendly communities. I think that's all, Thiago, for the brief. Let's say thank you once again.
Thank you so much, Muna. So if colleagues don't know where Brunei is, you now certainly will, because you see that Muna is full of energy, is very active, and you'll certainly get to know Brunei even more. And let's see where the competition takes them. Of course, for those in the age-friendly space, I believe that you know where Greater Manchester is and what Greater Manchester is doing. So to hear a bit more on that, I would like to invite our dear Nicola Waterworth. She is the strategic lead for the age-friendly strategy in the Greater Manchester Aging Hub. And Nicola is going to tell us a bit more from a long-standing commitment in this space. What are the next steps that they are taking and how their experience can help others as we move forward.
Thank
Nicola.
you, Thiago, and thank you for the opportunity to speak this morning. Good morning, buenos dias. And I want to start by thanking all of you for your contributions over the last 2 days, both informal sessions, but the conversations that I've had with so many of you. This is my first time at the Congress. And I'm a relative newbie to this work, only 7 years. Some of you have much more experience than I do. It has been a privilege to hear of everyone's passion about this work, your commitment, your ideas, your experiences. As my colleague said, taking so much back with us to Greater Manchester that we've heard here. And so many of you have been generous about the work that we have pioneered in Greater Manchester, and that makes me feel very proud of my colleagues, of our older people. Mancunians are quite proud people. We have a history we like to be proud of in innovating, in leading the way and doing things differently in all fields of life, but particularly in social change. And that certainly applies to our age-friendly work. Our Greater Manchester Aging Hub is celebrating 10 years this year. We work across the city region population. So that's with our 2 cities of Manchester and Salford and 8 other local authorities. And we are a partnership of local government, of public sector, the civil society, our research institutes and the private sector. But more than a partnership, as my colleague Paul McGarry, that many of you know and have known for years, champions, we are an ecosystem. We are building a really broad coalition of people who work in communities, who are leaders of organisations across so many different spaces in Greater Manchester to create better lives for older people. Our work builds on more than 20 years of work in Manchester. And we are being involved with this global network throughout that time. And this has been a great source for us of finding out so much more about what you're doing, creating collaboration, and making so many friends. And we are an age-friendly movement, and we are definitely friendly. But we're having a big birthday. And when you have a big birthday, you reflect on what you've achieved and what you're going to do next. We have nurtured and grown so many seeds of hope and change in Greater Manchester. We have impactful projects, many of which we've shared over the years with you, but have shared this week. Our Ageing in Place work currently is investing nearly £9 million over a number of years in trying to transform our neighbourhoods, putting older people's voice at the centre. Our Design for Life guidance is influencing developers, builders, how we are responding to ageing in our built environment. And our world-first case-finding e-falls pilot is proactively supporting older people, not only with their health, but with their social connection. And we've impacted thousands of lives in Greater Manchester, bringing connection, belonging and hope, busted myths and stereotypes about what ageing means or that we're all doing it the same. We've improved health and well-being through physical activity, creativity and cultural access, and improved housing. And we've tackled poverty. Some of our initiatives ensure that older people get what they're entitled to so they can live lives of dignity. Yesterday, legacy was described as building that is enduring, impactful and sustainable. And while we have done many great things and grown much that is beautiful, we have not achieved the full landscape change that we all aspire to in this movement. We know our next phase needs us to scale, to embed, and to reach all of our residents and bring an age-friendly lens to everything that we do. And we also know that inequalities remain deep and enduring for too many of the residents of Greater Manchester. At 57.9 years, our healthy life expectancy for women is 3.4 years behind the England average. And that's 8 years before the state pension age. The gap within Greater Manchester at its highest is 11 years. And as we've heard here, there are some significant global challenges to be navigated in this next phase. Changes that risk compounding those inequalities and setting us off our course. Division and fractures in how we're participating, the climate emergency, and the pace of technology and artificial intelligence. What we know matters, though, is that we want to engage and create and continue to create dialogue about what it is that we need to do, how we engage all generations in what a long life means, and how we fundamentally adapt. So to navigate these waters, to come finally, Tiago, to your question about contribution, we know that what matters is putting voice and lived experience of older people at the centre, building and maturing the leadership in our ecosystem, but continuing to collaborate, innovate, and further build the evidence base, particularly in this next phase on how we implement that evidence base, and we want to continue to work globally to do that. So we're pleased that in this next phase to offer our commitment to unite and be loyal to the movement. We will continue the global dialogue, sharing generously, and doing that in a spirit of furthering courage, hope, and belief collectively together. So we have agreed with Tiago that we will develop a proposition for a Greater Manchester Age-Friendly Centre of Excellence. This will be a programme of work that continues to translate our local experience of implementation and our efforts to grow and spread into global learning, supporting the evidence base for sustained change and investment, enabling peer exchange and more peer new innovations, strengthening the impact for our residents in Greater Manchester and uniting us internationally. We are thinking of this as a lighthouse or a beacon in the changeable waters that are ahead. We wish to offer light and hope, opportunities to guide each other, and safe waters that we can harbour together and develop our work over the coming years. And we really hope you will want to join us on this next part of our journey. Thank you, Tiago.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nicola. We are very happy to be working together with Greater Manchester to develop this lighthouse. Many of you have been guided by the lights provided by Greater Manchester, and hopefully this will be another step in the maturity of the program in there that will help all the global network. Thank you so much, Nicola. So now we go from Greater Manchester, this big, ginormous region, very complex, many cities, to a place called Pesqueza. And Constancio Granado Perez, from the Friends of Pesqueza Association in Spain, will tell us a bit more an experience on a very concrete action that they led in Pesqueza that enables commitments to be sustained over time, over many years, and make a difference. Constancio, por favor.
Gracias. Gracias, Tiago.
Thank you very much, Tiago. Thank you very much to the organisers for having given the rural area a space here. And thank you also to the fabulous city of San Sebastián. So, Pesqueza is a Spanish municipality in Extremadura, near Cáceres, very near the Portuguese border. It has 150 inhabitants. It's a bit embarrassing for me to say that after having heard all the other facts and figures that have been bandied about today, but we're very, very small. And it's a very rural environment, and our proposal, therefore, is rural. It's also true that 55% of the municipalities in Extremadura, and there are more than 300 of them, have less than 1,000 inhabitants, and 80% actually have less than 5,000. So this is the reality of our area. And in fact, this is not a unique case. There are many other regions of the world, especially in Spain, where there are lots of very small municipalities. So we have a very rural proposal, a proposal for small rural villages. Because when we're talking about the rural world, we're not talking about sort of an isolated case. We're not isolated. We are connected, and we all live in the same world. So when we say that in 2 decades, then we're going to have 35% of our population will be older adults, I always say, well, actually, we've been, having 30, 40, 50% of our population is an older population in the rural municipalities. We're already in that situation. We've been in that situation for quite a long time. And so we've come up with this response. It's our response, but maybe it can be useful for other people as well. We can't make your place of residence another element which contributes to inequality, because there's enough inequality already. So the rural area, it shouldn't be defined in opposition to the urban. It's simply different. And if we don't understand that, that it shouldn't be any kind of confrontation, then I think we're going to have a hard time making any meaningful progress. So it's a small proposal for a very small area. It might seem that way, but actually it's not, because collectively what we're doing is coming up with or engaging in a different type of dialogue with the state. It's just a different type of resident. It's a different type of model. We're simply engaging in a different type of dialogue. And we just need a little bit of cohesion. We need a little bit of a movement for it to actually scale up. So the program is called Quédate con nosotros, which means stay with us. This was the program that we set up in 2011 to try to deal and to manage the aging and depopulation in the municipality of Pesqueza, because in a town with only 150 inhabitants, if people start leaving, then obviously the situation is going to get quite dire. And what our proposal was really quite simple. We have 150 people, and our proposal was to make sure that no one had to leave the municipality because they couldn't be cared for or because there was a lack of services. That was really, in a nutshell, what our aim was, and it continues to be our aim today. We're enriching it with different projects and different initiatives, but the essence of what we do has remained the same. We're mixing two different things in order to do this. We're mixing pragmatism, we're being very pragmatic about it, so real solutions for real problems with real people, and warmth in our response, a human touch in our solutions. Because you can call a program no matter what you like, but you're talking at the end of the day about people's lives, and people's lives don't stop while you think up a better name. So the baseline situation wasn't particularly favorable. We had a day center which was built, but it could actually never be opened because the financial crisis hit, and then the local council didn't have enough money to run the day center, so we needed a solution there, and everyone was on board. Everybody agreed, so the politicians agreed, and also the community agreed. Everybody was on the same page. So in fact, we had a joint goal, and we got together to find solutions. Because we're just looking for answers at the end of the day. That's what we want. And I think that's true everywhere, but especially in a small village, there's a good balance between a government, which is quite slow, well, always slow, to be honest, and it's heavily weighed down with all of these rules and regulations. And there's not really much space for innovation there. So we have this slow, cumbersome government is then balanced out by a very dynamic private sector. And that has recognized the economic potential of the care sector, although at the moment, if you've only got very few users, then it's not very profitable. So this is combined with a third element as well, which is the strength and dynamism of the civil society, because when you're in a very small society, there aren't very many people, but they're very dynamic and they've got a lot of energy. So I wanted to call your attention to another couple of elements which very rarely feature in our planning, but which are very important. First of all, the roots of the production system, because we're talking about rural environments here. They're agricultural areas that don't have a lot of rainfall, and they've been afflicted in the past by a lot of war and conflict. And then the second element is the cultural element, which is And by this, I mean that we have to really understand the strength and the strong points of our villages. Because people who live in the rural environment are generally, even a lot of people who live in the cities. There was a major migration here in Spain in the 1960s, and a lot of people went to live in the big cities, but they come back in the holiday. So there's a lot of empty houses because people's roots still are in their small towns and villages. And now there's a movement in which people are coming back to these small towns when they reach the age of retirement. So this is the productive fabric that I was talking about earlier. And this is really important because it means that we need to support each other. There's a need for reciprocity. When I work, I need you. You might need me tomorrow. So there's a very conscious relationship of dependence between different people. This is what it was like in the past, at least, and that has in fact almost disappeared now because the production system has changed as well, which means that individualism is gaining ground and social relations and social bonds are becoming weaker. So we need to know what the problem is, but we also need to know how to resolve it and what to do about it. And I think that's one of the success stories here, because we knew that aging is something that we will all go through. After a certain age, 10 years is a very long time, but we're all going to get there sooner or later. So it was a proposal that all society needed to be on board with. It wasn't just a project for older adults, although we were focusing on them preferentially at the beginning at least. It was a proposal for the entire community, designed by the entire community, for the entire community, because we're aware that we will all need it at one point in our lives. So the solution that we found alongside the local council, and we always work very in close collaboration with our local council, is that we needed to articulate that participation from within the community, but with the community centre stage. They were the protagonists. So we created an association called the Association of Friends of Pezcueza. Anyone can join, no matter their age. And it was a very clear manifestation of support for this idea, for this commitment to make sure that no one had to leave if they didn't want to. So there's about 120 people are part of this association in a population of 150. So you can see that it's actually quite widespread and very well received. So it's a way of making a commitment. It's a way of working on the hallmark of our particular identity in the town, in the village, which is of course very important, especially in small communities. But I mentioned pragmatism earlier. We want to be pragmatic. Anyone who lives in a rural area knows that you have to be pragmatic if you want to survive in the rural area. We needed to provide real solutions to real problems. So right from the very beginning, the association has always been in charge of managing all the resources that are being channeled down from other institutions to the population in the municipality. It is the entity that manages our day centre, rather than an institution or just a mere building. It's actually been the platform through which we were providing services. We have transport, we have a canteen, we've got a small electric vehicle to help people move around the streets. We have a van as well. So we also offer other basic services, all of which from the day care centre or the day centre. And right from the word go, back in 2011, it just did as much as we did as much as we were able to do economically. Open from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock in the evening. Basically, residents just had to go home to go to sleep. That was all, and only because we didn't have beds, or else they'd have probably stayed to have a sleep as well. It's really an element that has helped people become much more deeply rooted in their municipality. But the centre doesn't just work with dependent older adults and people with disabilities. What it also does, it just means that it works with all sorts of different people, and it means that people can actually stay in the municipality because they are accompanied throughout their entire process. Another key element for us was to really attach a lot of importance to everyday activities, the simple things, not trying to create something amazing and new, but just everyday activities. People in the rural environment, they go hunting, they go fishing, they garden. We wanted them to continue to do what they were already doing. We didn't want to change the dynamics. We didn't want to change their lives. We just wanted to make sure that they could continue to live their lives as they liked, so that there wasn't a huge change for them. All that we were offering them was the help that they needed. We have a program against loneliness. That was way back in 2011 when nobody was talking about loneliness. We were already working to mitigate loneliness, to try to make sure that no one felt alone and by themselves. Another two key issues, which now, after time has passed, we value a lot more, is the public, the agreement between the public sector and different associations. We have a local council, we have the municipality. We've always worked in close collaboration with them because we needed them from a financial point of view, but also the local council wanted to make sure that it really was working to help its community, and that what it was doing and the effort it was making was in fact going to bear fruit. So this is what we've done, it's what we continue to do. We created 15 new jobs, but again, it doesn't seem very much, but you're talking about a municipality with 150 people, I tell you once again, so that's actually quite a lot. There have been people who've actually moved to the municipality as a result of this. There was an era in which we had a load of TV stations came. We had the BBC, French television as well. They came, they visited us. We got a lot of media attention at some point, and that generated quite a lot of curiosity. And what we saw at the end is that social policy is the best development policy you could possibly have in small communities. You don't need, to wait until a company comes and wants to build a huge wind turbine to have a massive injection of cash into your municipality. You don't need that. You can do it with the resources that you have. And I think it's really important to understand that, so that we really can have an opportunity to progress in the rural world. In principle, we work always with the community, working together on an equal footing. And then there's also an idea of financial co-responsibility as well. So we are all involved and we're all responsible for the finances. And it was actually quite easy to do, but it's not simple, because there's a lot of gears that need to mesh together to make it work. We didn't find it difficult, but as I said before, it's no simple task. Because sometimes, you're on the knife's edge between what's good and what's bad. But the centre, very soon, obviously it's located right in the middle of town, in the centre of town, which is a big advantage. So any celebration that goes on in the town goes on there in the centre. So we have a lot of intergenerational contact as well. Because that's really the only way it could possibly be. When did we do this? Well, we needed to make sure that the community was mature enough. So we just started very gradually with a very simple service, home help, fighting against lonely. Then we had a day centre. Then we've actually built 5 rooms now, and now we actually have a care home. And we have many, many more services now for the users of the centre, but for, in fact, all of the population as well who want to participate in one way or another. We have a podiatrist, we have a physiotherapist, etc.
Por supuesto, personalizado.
And of course, everything is custom made. I mean, we don't take anything for granted. From the very beginning, we have been supporting 20 to 25 people since we're so small. Well, there's been a moment where, we didn't have new users from the population. There was a gap there in that sense. We like to call what we do a care community. We understand that management by the association has been key for success. There's a relevant role played by local administration. That's also key for us. And in the end, what we wanted is to avoid people from leaving our village, which is what we were actually concerned about. After 15 years, we can happily say that nobody had to leave our village to go to a nursing home outside our village, and we are really happy about that. That is a great achievement for us. We want to stick to our guns. We want to stay there to live together in our village because we're deeply rooted into the territory, and so this works very well. And we're fully aware of our weaknesses, of course. This model can be improved. There's no doubt about that. But different reality is possible. But, I mean, if we don't contribute anything to our society, if we don't achieve a real impact, then success would be questionable. Thank you very much indeed.
Muchísimas gracias, Constancio.
Thank you very much, Constancio. Thank you.
Importance of rural communities, highlighting the links between rural and urban, and most importantly, the protagonism, la importancia, Constancio.
The importance of participation, the protagonism of the community. You've been working there for more than 15 years. Thank you very much indeed. You've set a wonderful example for other similar settings.
Small communities from around the world. Thank you, Constancio. So now we're going to listen, equally important, the commitment from academia, right? We have so many researchers, universities here with us today. You play a fundamental role in advancing the age-friendly movement. And to know a bit more about what academia is doing, I'm going to invite my dear colleague, Tamir Mohamed Shusha. He is the director of the Center of Excellence for Healthy Aging at Sharjah University, working closely with our subnational affiliate in the Emirate of Sharjah. Tamir, you've been closely collaborating with Age-Friendly Sharjah and advancing the role of academia in this space. Could you please reflect and tell us a bit more on how academic partnerships strengthen age-friendly action, and also some of the initiatives that I know you're developing in this space?
Thank you so much, Thiago. I would like first to take the opportunity to thank you and thank Anne and the WHO for this opportunity. It's really great to be among all these people, and I would like to compliment the attendees for being there on the last day, because usually on the last day a lot of people. The second thing is, whenever you're in an international collaboration like this, you get to learn a lot from dealing with people with other experiences. And one thing I learned today is that aging is Gemini. Thank you for that. That was beautiful. So we all share the same goal when it comes to age-friendly environments, that we want the elderly population to be healthy. You want them to be independent. You want to be participating. You want them to be engaged. You want them to be, at the end, satisfied. They live. They have a purpose in life. That's the most important thing about an age-friendly community. And we were talking about that. Different cultures and different countries have their own ways and different perspectives when it comes to aging and looking at that. So there's no one size that fits all. When I joined the University of Sharjah, I got to know by chance that there is an age-friendly office, governmental office, because Sharjah was the first Arab age-friendly city, and that was beautiful. But when I come closely to them to see their initiative and what they're doing, okay, so one good thing, there is the means and the money and the logistics to go through several initiatives. But to what extent are these initiatives efficient, and to what extent are they reflecting the needs of the elderly community? And this is when we started to talk together, because again, I believe is to have that beautiful sustainability of an age-friendly committee, you need to have the action evidence-informed, policy-guided, and what's more important, community-driven. You need to go back to the community, to the elderly themselves, and see what they need, what the actual needs from their perspectives are. And if you look at the 3 pillars I've just talked about, universities can work on the 3 dimensions together and help. When it comes to academia, we can provide the scientific rigor to look at the realistic, or to give a realistic understanding what ageism is, okay? Through data, through research, through analyzing previous research, we have a lot of means to do that. You can also have whatever you analyze and transform it into evidence so that you can guide policies and give recommendations. And that would help hit the bullseye and get to a target instead of just going around circles and then say, okay, we missed this, and we need to do that from the start. And third, when it comes to our role, we can help in capacity building. You can train professionals, you can train candidates that are dealing with that age-friendly communities or closely encountering aging subjects so that they have the competencies that are needed or actually needed to serve in a right way. So going back to when we were talking about initiatives, there are a lot of things that came out of mind. I'm just going to give you examples. So the first thing that came to mind is that we have to work together to have a comprehensive research agenda with focal points of research for that specific community, what they need. And we started working on that, and we had like 5 or 6 main research ideas that are really focal and would help come up with recommendations for policymakers for improving the age-friendly Sharjah. Another point is that you cannot work on your own. It's not one-man show. So again, interdisciplinary collaboration, you're working on health sciences, you're working on social sciences, you're working on public transport, you're looking on technology, you're working on a lot of dimensions that are needed to work together to have that picture or that puzzle set it out properly. So again, we just hand it out or give word to everybody that is available, that can work with us so that we can work together or collaborate together so that there is an interdisciplinary team for each pillar or each domain that comes out with its own recommendations. Okay. And third, there's something that I've noticed that there's this intergenerational gap. So awareness is really much important. The younger generation don't know a lot about aging. They just, okay, we get older at one time. And when we get there, let's see how it gets. Okay, that's not a way to do it. Okay, in our part of the world, or in Sharjah, every single house has one of its members, at least one of the members who is at an old age, and just dealing with that member from a religious perspective, okay, just let's take good care of him, let's bring a caregiver, the medical assistance to be provided. It's not just that to be looked at. It's not just that. They have the right, again, to be independent. They have the right to say their own, what's on their minds, to take their own decisions, to be engaged in the community. So we started having initiatives to link that gap. We started making match pairs between younger people who are interested in being in the military or in the police or working as architects and sit with those who have experience in these fields and have an idea of what was in the past and what's now. And they listen back and forth and give ideas. We've been having something called the Wisdom Council. So we're having elderly that were already in substantial positions and they're giving their own decisions where that came from and how that rule was starting and how it ended now. And what do they think as a reflection of how things are running on now? And this is being taken into consideration. From the university part as well, we have been engaging students in their capstone projects, and we've been getting brilliant ideas, especially when it comes to technology. And one of the projects was done in collaboration with a Korean university. They just came out with a patent for a smart cane to decrease the risk of falling. And the idea just came from a student that was really interested because her grandmother had a broken hip twice. So linking that bridge between the university and the community, you're filling in gaps and saving a lot of time. A last point to mention that universities have substantial funding on their own, and we have our own state-of-the-art labs, which sometimes cannot be present in community dwellings. So again, From our part, we're reaching out. If you needed help for gait analysis, if you needed help to understand why cognition is a deficit for a specific region, we're using this, not just for research purposes, but also to help them understand that this defect is coming from this part, and you can link it to that, and later we can work on research together. So we're saving them money, we're saving them time, and at the end, we work as a team that is very efficient, and at the same time, it's getting to the real goal of that elderly-centered purpose. The elderly subject is the center of our focus. It's not the other way around. We're not looking from our perspective to mimic other initiatives that we can see in other Western countries. No, we're trying to look at what can be taken from the guidelines of the WHO, but fits within that culture, and at the same time would give us fast paces so that we can catch up with other countries. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tamir. Sharjah has indeed been a long-standing leader in the region. It's been the first age-friendly city. It has the first affiliate program in the region, and now we can clearly see that there's further strengthening their age-friendly ecosystem by bringing all these collaborations together, and academia is fundamental for that. So thank you so much, Tamir, for your work and the collaboration in the age-friendly Sharjah program. Now, we're going to listen from grassroots, civil society. And for that, I would really like to invite our dear Paulette Metang. She is the Chief Executive Officer of Akamej from Cameroon. Paulette, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Thiago, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. Thank you to my colleague, and congrats for your presentation. All of you, thank you for being here. Good morning. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Now, let's tackle the topic. Well, the world population is aging at an unprecedented pace. Nearly 1 billion people are age 16 plus. This demographic is expected to double to 2.1 billion by 2050. By then, 80% of older people will be living in low and middle-income countries like Cameroon. So it has become crucial to address older people issues, organizing them, mainly in rural areas. Our place, they are in broad range in rural areas. So communities can ensure that commitments translate into real improvement for older people's life through our following field work. Let's begin by the first point, that is translating commitment into tangible daily life improvements. The core action in the field is peer-led support and safe spaces. How we tackle this on the ground? Organizing grassroots in rural areas, organizing peer grassroots in group, other people's association, per villages, for example, and community advisory board. This allowed other people to come together, to support each other, share experiences, and reduce isolation, loneliness. That is the real beginning when we come to the implementation of age-friendly agendas. Then, the community core and immediate priorities are easily identified by the groups, keeping in mind our resource constraint. context. Those priorities include, in our place, food security, health screening, running water, local resource pooling, agriculture amelioration because of climate change effect, and income-generating activities. Beside other groups, we have also organized young people into groups, and they join us so as to create intergenerational spaces where youth help, for example, in cleaning other people's house, fetching water for them, going to the hospital, giving their medication, and in digital. Other people at their turn can keep their children, giving advice, and so on. This promotes intergenerational solidarity and dialogue while reducing ageism. This is very important. Other people associations and local CSOs also advocate to promote their human rights and their importance to sensitize on other people's issues and to combat ageism. Now, let's move to the second part, engaging local leaders in the implementation. Here, mayors, municipal council, traditional and religious leaders must be involved in the conception and implementation of aging actions. And to demonstrate tangible community assets, CSOs should invite, when I say CSOs, we are in grassroots levels, that means other people's association, should invite local leaders in events to show their importance to them and the impact of aging issues, and to frame aging as a community-wide benefit. Age-friendly infrastructure benefit all vulnerable groups, like disabled, children, pregnant women, for example, rest chairs. And join working groups and agreements. Give benefits in terms of multi-stakeholder coalition that include local government, faith-based groups, transport authorities, and other people's associations. Communities should prepare written agreements with local government outlining achievable actions. For example, partnering with mayor's office to secure community land or for a senior vegetable garden. Now to conclude, communities, other people's associations, and local leaders, maybe also CSOs, play a key role in improving the daily lives of other people in resource-constrained settings, where grassroots initiative, solidarity, and local partnership are essential to transform commitment into concrete actions. We try to implement all the above in our country. We try it. Furthermore, implementing existing laws, supporting the UN Convention on Older People's Rights, drafting in process in Geneva, will promote age-friendly cities and communities for other people's dignity, inclusion, safely, autonomy, independence, respect, and well-being. And thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you so much, Paulette. Thank you for your work and for highlighting the importance of grassroots movements all around the world for advancing the age-friendly agenda. Thank you so much, Paulette. I promised you that we have 2 breakthroughs. So before we jump to questions, I do need to invite 2 people to this stage because the session is not just about commitments, and you've seen many commitments being expressed here, but it's also about breakthroughs. And since Paulette has left us in Africa, I would like to kindly invite my dear colleague, Melanie Murger. She is a member of the WHO Youth Council and one of the Congress ambassadors for a breaking news that I'm sure all of you will be very happy to hear. Melanie, please.
Good morning, Congress delegates. I'm very happy this morning. There's a favorite quote of mine that says, if you want to walk fast, you walk alone, but when you want to walk far, you walk together. And today I'm going to make an announcement of a new municipality that is joining the network so that we can walk together on this journey of age-friendliness. Africa has 54 countries. It has over 16,000 municipalities. And today we celebrate a pioneer in this commitment. A pioneer municipality from my very own country, Kenya, called Thika, that has made the commitment to join the network and becomes the very first, not just in Kenya, out of the 86 municipalities, but also in Africa. So join me in congratulating this new. Thank you very much. As a member of the WHO Youth Council, we're very proud of this initiative because Africa is one of the home of many young people. And as we join in this commitment as young people, this is a true reflection of what intergenerational solidarity is. At this point, I would like us to hear a quick message from the mayor of the municipality of Thika, celebrating this news together with all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie.
Dear delegates, my name is Honorable Gadi Kanyi, Municipal Manager of Thika Municipality in Kenya. It is with great pride and excitement that I share that Thika has now joined the World Health Organization for Global Network of Age-Friendly Cities and Communities. This milestone reflects our commitment to building a city that supports people of all ages, especially our older persons. Thika Municipality in Kiambu County is a vibrant industrial and educational hub with a population of approximately 700,000 residents. Among them are older citizens whose contribution have played a vital role in shaping our community. As we continue our transformation into a city and into a smart and inclusive city, we recognize that aging is not a challenge. It is an opportunity to build stronger, healthier, and more connected communities. To make Thika more age-friendly, we have invested in accessible infrastructure, including pedestrian walkways, ramps, and safe road crossings. We are promoting non-motorized transport system that improves mobility and safety for all residents. We have also developed open and green spaces that encourage recreation, participation, and well-being. Importantly, we actively engage older persons as partners in development, ensuring that their voices are heard in planning and in decision-making. We continue to work closely with organizations representing older persons so that our policies and programs respond to their needs and aspirations. Looking ahead, we have an ambitious vision. We plan to establish an integrated retirement community where older persons can live in environments designed to promote health, dignity, independence, and social connection. These communities will have access to healthcare services, social and intergenerational spaces, transportation, and recreational facilities. Joining the World Health Organization Global Networks provides us with an opportunity to learn from global best practices, share our own experiences and innovations, and strengthen partnership that accelerate progress. We believe DICA can both benefit from and contribute meaningfully to this global movement. As we join this network, we reaffirm our commitment to building a city where no one is left behind, where aging is embraced, supported, and celebrated. We look forward to working with partners around the world to make DICA a model age-friendly city in Africa and beyond. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Also, I would like to acknowledge the immense contribution and leadership from two people that could not be with us here today. Michael Kimuhu, another Congress ambassador from Kenya, and my dear colleague Joshua Bianca, the responsible officer for this area of work in the Afro region. So please, a big round of applause for the two of them as well. Now we have our second breakthrough because we saw that throughout the Congress, there are many ideas where we can get together and continue this productive exchange. Now you heard from, for example, Kochi yesterday on their interest, and they're moving ahead in establishing a regional meeting where citizen communities can gather and learn from one another. We've heard the interest from Zapopan to organize an Ibero-American event where, again, we could have this community, or at least the Ibero-American part of the community, coming together. We've heard the amazing International Longevity Forum that São Paulo organizes. I was just talking to my colleagues in São Paulo, and this year they expect to have close to 20,000 people in that event. And I can tell you, my mother-in-law is one of them, because she lives in São Paulo and she doesn't miss a single one. And I do hope that we can respond to the amazing offer from São Paulo and host one of the next congresses in the city as well. But we thought that this time, for the 4th World Congress, that we would need to go to another continent, a continent we've never been. So for that, I would like to kindly invite Di Chu from the Ministry of Health in Singapore to share some news with us. Di.
Thank you so much, Tiago. My name is Zhi from the Singapore Ministry of Health. As part of this session on commitments and breakthroughs, I'm very excited to announce that Singapore will be hosting the next iteration of this Congress in 2028. Wow. Woo! So I think we're very honored to be building on the strong foundations built through previous iterations in Dublin, in Quebec, and this beautiful city, San Sebastian. My colleagues from SingHealth, one of our public healthcare clusters in Singapore, will be organizing the event. They're here with us over this past week, and all of us have been very energized by the conversations, the dialogues. So we're very excited to curate the next iteration of the program for you. We hope to add to the diversity of the conversation, the richness of the conversation, by adding more examples, stories, experiences from Singapore, from Asia, as well as the Eastern Hemisphere. So with that said, thank you very much for the conversations. I look forward to more connections, more conversations, and also welcoming you to Singapore in 2028. Muchas gracias, todas y todos. Woo.
So let me see how we are with time, and thank you so much once again for this breaking news. I think we have time for maybe one question, and apologies once again, I'm terrible with these timekeeping. So colleagues, if there's one question to our speakers, please raise your hand and we can pass the mic. Sorry? Yes, absolutely. So I don't see hands raised, and I know we are short of time, so I would just want to pass the floor to Amal. She would like to say some words on key messages for us to close the session.
Thank you so much, Thiago. An absolutely excellent panel. And thank you to all the colleagues and to the initiatives that were raised. I wanted us to leave this with something for all of you to think about, to close that circle. It was clear from the discussions that aging does not fit in one country, one ministry, one sector. It crosses across all of them. And in my mind, all these initiatives that took place, the decade, this network, the plan of action, a growing human rights architecture, all of these are part of the ecosystem that came out of Madrid. And one of the interesting developments that I've heard in the past days is actually the creation of a longevity hub, which I understand that Sao Paulo is hosting, and that the focus of it will be on the global south. And this is the best initiative that I'm seeing that starts to translate the reality of this cross-sectional approach into aging. But I've also heard voices of the past days of, what are all these things doing for us? We keep saying the same stuff over and over. And to that, I'm reminded by the only economist that I understand, who's Andrew Scott, who told me once that we will hit a tipping point where the change will become not an agenda item for all of us, but something that is common sense. Just like the idea or the concept of the weekend came about. It didn't happen naturally or quickly. It took a lot of effort, a lot of negotiation, a lot of pushback, but suddenly everybody got it. And until then, until we hit that tipping point, I invite you all to stick around with all of us, strap in, and keep climbing that mountain. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amal. So as you see, we finished this plenary not just with one lighthouse in the global north, we now have a second lighthouse in the global south. And that's excellent, and we hope to have many more lighthouses now enlightening the way to us all. So colleagues, we have some instructions before we close before you leave from our dear Unbedded. But before I invite her in and pass the floor to her, I would just like to ask you to join me in a big round of applause to our distinguished panelists. To Thika, our very first African city to join the global network. And of course, to Singapore for hosting us all in 2028. Unbedded, please.
Maybe we can have a slide. I'm going to divide you into discussion groups. So I'm hoping there's a slide showing the different groups. No? Okay, then we improvise. So we've celebrated the past, we've taken stock of where we are, and now the time has come to discuss the future of age-friendly cities and communities. And I'm hoping that after the coffee break, you'll join the different discussion groups. I'm hoping also that it comes up on the slide, but if not, we've divided you into different groups. So we have group number 1, Spanish, Portuguese speaking. Lovely Patricia and Flor are both facilitating and reporting back from that. You'll stay here. Then we have group number 2 with Melanie and Ina, English speaking. You're in room number 8. We have a French-speaking group with Pierre, Olivier, and Marie in room number 3. And then we have group number 4, UD Pamela and Fatima in the poster room in the Global Village. Downstairs, that will also be in English. Group number 5, Tamer and Nur Hassana you'll be in room number 3, sharing it with the French. They'll put up a division in room number 3. Group number 6, Yongji and Lisa, you'll be in room number 9, also English speaking. And then group number 7, Andrea, Elena and Eva, Basque speaking, in room number 10. And I'll be around, just grab hold of me if you didn't catch this or if it doesn't come up on the screen. I think that's what we can do.
So
sometimes
maybe Anne-Berit, you could just mention the rooms by language. For the English speakers, please join a room that is available. For the ones that prefer to be on a room of a specific language, then we could perhaps just repeat the Spanish.
So Spanish, Portuguese, you can stay here or come back here after coffee. French group, room number 3. Basque, room number 10. The others, you can go between room 8, poster room, 9. Yes, that's it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. The slides. Muy bien.
Say it again.
Agustin is supposed to have sent you a slide.
Yeah, but we got just a slide of here. I mean, no one tell us what to put. We